Good afternoon. Thanks a lot. I have to say I'm very excited to be here. It's been a while for me since I've been on stage at a developer conference. I actually used to work, first thing I did at Microsoft, we worked on Microsoft Access. So I went to developer conferences back there through Access 1 and part of 2. And then I was responsible for Office Developer Edition, running Access in the Office Developer Edition, and then Visual Studio up until when we kicked off VisualStudio.net. So this used to be a big part of my life. But in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been over in the services world, focusing on software as a service. And today I'm very excited to talk to you about how we now think of all the software, the services business that we've built, and all the software that we've built to support those services, how we're thinking more and more about that as a very rich and interesting developer platform. Now, before I dive into Windows Live as a platform, actually my goal today is 2 things. You guys are going to have a sugar crash in about 30, 40 minutes, so hopefully we'll have a few interesting demos for you. We're going to have 3 demos today, 2 demos that are here and now, things you can take advantage of yourself, a third, something that's a little bit more forward-looking. So hopefully that'll keep you as you get over your digestion of your lunch. But the second thing I'm really going to focus on is bringing up to speed on Windows Live, how we think about the platform, how we think you guys can benefit from this platform. So should be a fun challenge. Now, before I jump into Windows Live as a platform, I wanted to take just a couple minutes to talk about Windows Live itself. As you probably know, last November, we announced our live services strategy. And we did some demos and talked to Bill Gates and Ray Ozzie, talked about Windows Live and Office Live. And really, what Windows Live is all about is about bringing together the internet on behalf of our customers and giving them the best of the internet through a family of integrated services. So by leveraging the work we've been doing over the past couple of years with MSN, the communication services and the information services, that's kind of a starting point. But really what you'll see is Windows Live is kind of an evolution of some of the things we're doing and frankly a revolution on a number of other fronts. So as these services have been releasing this spring and through the summer, what you see is an integrated set of consumer offerings with a common look and feel, but the look and feel, the redesign of the experience is much more than just skin-deep look and feel. For example, next generation Hotmail and Live.com, both built on basically next generation AJAX framework. In fact, they both take advantage of the Atlas runtime that you've already heard a lot about this morning. And in fact, we've worked with Scott's team to make sure that we've got a basis there that can really help fuel some of the biggest websites on the planet. So Windows Live, the offering, really kind of takes communication services such as mail, so Hotmail, Messenger, Spaces, as well as information services like Search or what was MapPoint, kind of coming together as an integrated family of web services for consumers. And these web services are now getting extended with lots of new experiences. So Windows Live Expo, which is a classified service that integrates the best of social networking and mapping in with a classified service. We've got services like Windows Live Call to reach out from your Messenger experience and connect to telephony network. We've got Windows Live OneCare, which is all about PC health and safety services for your PC. So you'll see kind of more and more services roll out under the Windows Live brand. And of course, one that you've already seen a glimpse at and you'll see more of today is Live.com, our next generation portal. And an interesting thing is we still believe that we still have an MSN, a very rich investment around MSN, which is really a programmed portal experience. Live.com is all about bringing you the internet on your terms, the RSS feeds you want, the gadgets you choose to include, your personalized homepage. And really that's kind of a core value proposition across all of Windows Live, is letting customers get the internet in the way they want it and bringing it together in an integrated fashion. So anybody who's probably been to a tech ed or a PDC has probably seen a slide that looks somewhat like this. This is the virtuous cycle of developing a platform. So here today on Windows Live and on all the services I've just talked about, we have a huge number of users today. Messenger, for instance, has over 205 million active users around the world. Hotmail has over 230 million active users. Together, there's all the contacts and all of those users' contact lists make up almost 13 billion contacts. There's an incredible set, and in fact, it continues to grow at a remarkable pace. So we've got these unique application capabilities that have attracted all these customers. And so the idea is how can we expose some of that excitement and some of those services in ways that we can get much more innovation than, frankly, we could deliver on our own just with the developers on my team and across Windows Live. So by opening up some of this service platform, we get very excited about enabling a vast amount of innovation. And of course, through that innovation, that just drives more value to users who have a Windows Live account, more value to the time they spend in the Windows Live experiences, more value to the time they spend in your experiences if what you're doing is integrating Windows Live data or components into your application. So really, in fact, we think of building out this application, this application platform, kind of there are two different ways you can think about it. We want to make it easy for you to take your own user experience, whether it's a rich client application or a website, and bring in aspects of the Windows Live user experience into your environment, and therefore get a richer experience. Another model is to take our experiences, such as Messenger or Live.com, and have you develop components that can extend Windows Live experiences. We believe that both of those models are very relevant in this world. And of course, the more innovation there is on a platform like this, the more end users there are that get attracted to it, the more time they spend online, the more engaged they are. And whether your business model is one of subscriptions or one of transactions or of advertising, the more customers, more engagement, more page views means more opportunity. Now, we do see in this world advertisers as a very key partner for all of us. There's tremendous opportunity for us to, in aggregating all these users, to deliver experiences perhaps for free to the end user, but where the advertiser is paying for the ability to reach a targeted audience. And again, kind of the more engagement we have, the more opportunity there is to drive that advertising revenue, and therefore the more money there is in the ecosystem to go back to developers. So this virtuous cycle is an exciting one, and probably even more exciting now that you introduce new monetization models, such that users in many cases aren't paying, and yet there's still a tremendous amount of money flowing through the system. So obviously, more advertisers brings more revenue opportunity, and the cycle continues. So this is an exciting opportunity for us to build our business, for you to build your businesses, and for you to build your businesses on top of the work that we've already done. Now, when we think about just some of the principles as we think about building this Windows Live platform, one very key one is that when it comes to the user's data, the user really needs to be in control. Obviously, there are very interesting possibilities for opening up user data to new experiences, and that is going to be exciting. One thing that's clear, though, is you have to have the user be in control of what applications get access to what aspects of their data, in the same way that they get to choose what people they share their data with. I'll say this probably a couple times through the course of the presentation, but really a huge focus of this platform effort is to help developers make money, to make it much easier for a developer that has an idea to be able to get that idea out to the masses and to make money with that idea. And again, whatever their monetization model might be. If it's an e-commerce site, they just want to have more traffic. They want to have more people find out about their site. Our platform will help them do that. It's very key, and this follows some of the same concepts and principles you heard today when you heard about the Atlas platform. It's important for this to be accessible from any platform, any browser, written in any language, and across any device. And in fact, a core focus of Windows Live is on being relevant and accessible to all devices, not just PCs. Focus is on simple HTTP-based APIs. Again, make it easy for developers to integrate these capabilities, and then have very clean and clear and straightforward licensing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So if I think about all the aspects, all the components, the technology that's in the Windows Live platform, we kind of break them down, not really in such a strict taxonomy, but more a guide of how we think about the evolution of our services. You know, at one point, all of our services were applications or experiences that end users could see, and there was really no way for developers to take advantage of any of them. And in fact, many times we had components that were not even shared across our own services. But what you see is an evolution where something like search, for instance, which used to be just a destination experience in and of itself, is now a common service that is present throughout all of the Windows Live experiences and is increasingly open to developers to integrate. Similarly, another service like Presence, which used to be very tightly linked to Messenger, is now more and more of a platform service. For instance, when we launched MSN Spaces, one of the key capabilities that really drove huge growth in Spaces was the fact that we had rich, personalized presence attached to your contact list. So you could see when your buddy created an MSN space, or if you went in and viewed the space, you could see through this little gleam, the little star, that your buddy had updated their space. And by injecting that presence into the network and making it exposed not just in Spaces but in other experiences such as Messenger, that has driven a huge amount of engagement on that service. Mapping, of course, is a service which is probably one of our most mature from a platform standpoint. We've had developers integrating our mapping technology for years. But what you're seeing now is a new service like Windows Live Expo integrates that from day one as a differentiated part of the experience. And of course, at the base, our very core infrastructure that everything's built on. We talk about contacts. Contacts, not just the store for all the relationships between users, but also the store for the attributes and the permissionings model. So everything goes through what do you give access to your friends to? That's all based on this common contact store. So now there's such a large surface area of our experiences and our own services. How do we think about what to open up first and how to go about exposing more and more of this over time? So first, we don't think just platform for platform's sake. The real focus is on how do you build this ecosystem where users are in control and where the ecosystem is one that's trusted. And so adding value to those Windows Live ecosystem in a breadth way by exposing services that we believe will be relevant to a broad set of developers is very important. Now, when it comes to accessing these APIs, and when it comes to licensing these APIs, we think that the fewer constraints we can put in place, the better. So, for instance, you heard about the Go Live license for the SP.NET Atlas framework. That's a model of us basically coming up with permissive licenses that let you get the most out of all of the work that we're doing, the incubations and the innovations that we're doing on the platform side. So our focus will be on having free access without rate limits wherever possible. So of course we'll do intelligent things to avoid rogue applications that look like denial of service attacks, but in general, we're going to focus on opening up APIs that contribute to the ecosystem, in which case, when you have your alignment, you don't need to say, set daily rates, et cetera. Now, for some services that are tied directly to a specific monetization model, or where it's harder to split off the commercial aspect of the API from others, then we may have rate limits. But as a general principle, we'll look to get rid of them wherever we can. And I talked about the business models, and we'll talk a little bit more about that because, as Bill and Tim talked about this morning, really, there are lots of different ways that people are making money on the internet. The huge growing one, and an exciting one, is the advertising business model. But our intention is to not only innovate and lead in driving basically fantastic returns for developers who integrate with our ad platform, but also give tools that make it easy for any developer with a great idea to do whatever business model they want. Tools to help them offer things for sale and then get listed in a catalog. Tools to help them do that, whether it's a one-time transaction or a subscription model. Tools to help them really get the most out of all of the investments we've made in driving the different business models behind our services to make them exposed to more and more developers. So the simple guidelines are that when you're in your properties, if you're using the Windows Live platform, no problem. Whatever business model you choose will work. If you're extending, for instance, a Messenger user experience, one thing that we're spending a lot of time on in the Windows Live services is making advertising much more relevant, much more tailored for the consumer, and much more predictable. And so within our live experiences, we will basically say no external ad platforms, but you can leverage our ad platforms. And of course, outside of our Windows Live platform, whatever you choose, whatever model you have for making money and driving value to your business. So here's a list of a few of the things that we've got today that we want to talk to you about. And the ones in yellow we're going to drill into a little bit more deeply. And so I'll talk to just a few that aren't going to get more attention in slides. I just talked about monetization. Ad Center is Microsoft's ad platform. So it's the platform that enables advertisers to come, to bid on keywords, and eventually to purchase display advertisements in a one-stop shop service online where they can manage their campaigns and manage the return on their investment. This is a huge investment for Microsoft. And in fact, this is, we've all seen the growth of, for instance, online search and the money that's driven through that business. And the algorithmic search is one half of that puzzle. And obviously, that's a place where we and others are investing tremendously. The monetization platform and making it easy for the advertiser and for the person bidding is frankly just as important, in many cases more important, to drive the kind of commercial success that we've seen. Now, in Ad Center, we get the opportunity to take advantage of the fact that we know a lot about our customer base. So with all these Messenger users, Hotmail users, people that sign in with Windows Live, we have information about them that they've provided us. Things like age, gender, location. And those are all aspects that advertisers care about. And so they care about reaching aggregated groups of consumers. And by doing a better job of tailoring advertisements for targeted segments of user bases, we drive more money in our advertising business because the advertiser drives more return on their investment. All that flows back to you as developers if you're leveraging this same ecosystem. And unfortunately, the Ad Center presentation, I think, is happening right now in a different room. But if you have a chance to see, there's tremendous tools for seeing visually what the customer base that your site is accessing looks like. Space is, as we talked about, a very popular blogging and photo sharing space. And what we've done is basically supported the MetaBlog APIs so that all the tools out there that people use for blogging and for posting photos are now relevant for MSN Spaces, soon to be Windows Live Spaces. Virtual Earth, you're probably more familiar with. There's a very deep SDK. Of course, there's SDKs on all of these available up on MSDN. But what you'll actually see a little bit of Virtual Earth in our presentation later on in the demos. And there's also another track on Virtual Earth here at MIX. So you heard a little bit about gadgets earlier today. And the first demo we're going to show is a little bit about how we're exposing Windows Live services as gadgets and how you can, if you invest in gadgets on your own technology, your own assets, can have them integrated into the Windows Live experience. Now, you've seen a little bit about what they look like. Really, they're all about kind of providing some eye-popping user experience that provides as much access to your own web service as you would choose. So whether it's a rich clock, whether it's a rich view on your inbox or your buddy list, in our case, you have a rich tool set to integrate a small window into your service and have this be a module on somebody's live.com homepage or in other containers. So it's a way for you to have a presence there every day and therefore to drive traffic back to your own assets and to increase engagement, just to drive that engagement with your customer. So as I said, Live.com is already kind of a premier host for gadgets. You see Windows Live Spaces adopting gadgets as well so that you can post them and consume them in your own space. And of course, at Microsoft Gadgets.com, we already have over 200 under gadgets up there. So a tremendous engagement from the developer community already. So with that, I want to invite Ken Levy, who's our Windows Live Platform Product Planner, to come to the stage. Ken, and if you can give us the first demo of the day.
All right. First thing I'm going to do is, actually, just so you know, I'm going to do 3 different demos, and they'll be broken out in between Brian's talk. So I'm going to actually bring up Internet Explorer and just go to the live.com homepage. And this is the home for the Windows Live search, but at the same time, this page will allow you to host gadgets, and you can log in, and it'll persist all of your settings, but you can also not be signed in, and it'll basically persist just on your machine here. So I'm not even signed in. I'm just going to show you and kind of browse around, just give you a little introduction, and show you some things that aren't so obvious when you visit this page for the first time. Well, first of all, you'll notice that there is this page 1. This idea is you can have multiple pages, and that way you have stuff on your main home page when it first loads, but if there's other stuff you want to see that you don't want it to refresh every time you visit live.com on the home page, you just click over. One thing that's really interesting is you can just double-click here and just say My Page 1, and it's just changing the caption. This is using DHTML technique, and it's not so obvious because sometimes web pages don't really behave this way. Another thing is you can just go exploring for various gadgets that are there. By the way, these little gadgets here, see that little arrow? That just means it's collapsed. And if you click here, it'll expand out. And you can even take these and drag them around and move them wherever you want, and it'll persist that. So again, it's just using HTML. And these little boxes are basically considered a gadget. It's a combination of JavaScript and DHTML and persisting the information about your preferences. And then I'm going to go ahead and push this one up, and then there's a gadget gallery, and you'll probably see a few pop up the first time you visit the page, and this little box here allows you to just remove them. So if you didn't want this one here, you just click X, and you could, of course, drag and drop it and add it later. So let's take a look at a few. We click weather. It's a good thing to know about while we're here. And notice at this point, it's just coming up with a default page, and it's Los Angeles. So let's actually add a new city here. And I'll just say Las Vegas. And you don't have to put in the whole city name. And it'll do a quick search, and you just pick the one you want, and it'll add it. Okay? And I deleted that one. And you can see here, there's the weather. And I could add another one, and I can say Seattle. And shouldn't be any big surprise what we find when it comes up. Rain, right? And also, what we can do is go ahead and collapse this one. And notice it automatically moves the weather right to the caption there. All right? Now, let's go to business, and we'll go stock quotes. And we can actually just click on add stock. And I happen to use, let's see, let's just pick this one here, Netflix. You got this stock price here. Now, something cool, another thing in DHTML is there's a lot of drag and drop. So I can just drag this and move it right up to the top. And you can rearrange them, and it'll persist. And of course, if I collapse, it'll put this at the top. It's like a ticker, and it'll just scroll through the items that are minimized while you're sitting here, and you can expand back. The other thing is, as you hover left, you just click here, and using Ajax, will just go out and pull a stock quote chart down. It's all live data. We can close this out, and you can scroll through here. Now here, you could have news, sport. There's all kinds of things out there. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Engadget blog and just drop it down here. And so basically, there's gadgets that act like a blog reader. And it gives you the headlines, and you can actually expand out and make it a larger one. And you can just hover over like a news item. And it's using Ajax to go out and just, at that moment, pull down a little headline about that one. Or you can click on the link and it would take you to that whole page. Again, you can expand and collapse and move this one around and so on. And this is just an example of a few that are fairly cool. And there's like Brian said, there's several hundred on MicrosoftGadgets.com. And let's not forget, you can customize this. If you go to advanced options, I won't really show it here, but you can basically put in a URL to an XML manifest file, hit subscribe, and it will add it to your gallery picker, and then you can drag and drop it. So it's pretty easy to extend it. So let's not forget that this is actually a search page. So if we say Robert Scoble, just for a fun search here, and I wanted to show how some cool new things on the search result page works. So if you see, here's the results, and if we click on news, it'll give you some news items. Well, you know, one thing that's missing here from a typical search result is a next button. We're all kind of familiar with, oh, hit next and hit next. There's no next button. So notice there's scroll bars. Well, yeah, I could use those, but I have a little wheel on my mouse, so I'm just going to scroll down. And it's using Ajax to actually pull new results as I'm scrolling down. Okay? So, and then, of course, you can use the push buttons here and move it up or so forth like this. Now, this might be a little scary, but I'm going to go ahead and click on Robert Scoble Images and pull this down and see what happens. We've got a lot of images here. And again, this result works the same way. There's no next button. I just scroll down, and it's actually going out and pulling down the new photos as I scroll down endlessly. Okay? If you go to feeds, it's actually going to search blogs based on this criteria. And it's a little smart in this result because it knows that the search result is all XML RSS. So, for instance, you can actually click here. Whenever there's an RSS feed, you get this little icon, and then it'll actually bring in the RSS in HTML over here, and you can actually go read it. So you can click here, and you see these different results. Another thing you can do is let's just close this one and scroll down a little bit. And like you could click here, and I'll just say add this to live.com. And then notice it's back on my page, and then I could go to my page one, and so forth. So you can basically add things, move them around, and so on. All right? That ends part one of the demos. Cool.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Yep.
Thank you. So what we see is gadgets actually make a really great platform for doing mashups, for bringing together data from different services. But it also gives you an opportunity to take anything, whatever you may be doing, just go out there, build a gadget. You saw today from Scott Guthrie how easy it is to build gadgets on top of Atlas. Try it out. Get up on the sandbox, post your stuff to the sandbox, and join the contest. By encapsulating your content and your data into gadgets and your user experiences, you really get into plug into what's an ever-growing ecosystem around this model. So also go to MicrosoftGadgets.com, and you'll see just kind of how much innovation is already happening on this front. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is a very interesting aspect of our platform, which is that of custom domains. It's a simple idea, but we believe very powerful, which is that it allows anybody who's registered their own domain to basically come to Windows Live and to register their domain, and then they become kind of the master for identities within that domain. They can provision and deprovision identities, and with that, give those identities accounts to email accounts, messenger accounts, basically all the benefits that they would have with the Windows Live ecosystem. Now, this was a beta that we released last November. We've already got, I believe, over 13,000 registered domains, so a lot of people are using this service. I believe you've all got domains. If you didn't already have domains, I know you have domains by virtue of being registrants here at the MIX conference. Give it a shot. The other thing is that this week, the SDK is being rolled out. So if you go to live.com, or sorry, msdn.com, whack live. If you don't see it there today, within 24 hours, you will see the SDK for custom domains. And you can try it out yourself at the hands-on lab. We talked a bit about the search platform and about the search service and how much investment is going into search. And of course, we've, for some time, had an SDK that lets you tap into our search engine and get returns on algorithmic results, whether you're looking for just core web results, phone book results, news, et cetera. So as we expose more and more capabilities or top-level scopes in search, from our own user experience, we're also exposing that through the Windows Live platform. It's very easy to get started and to quickly sign up with the platform, get up to 10,000 queries per day. And then there are commercial terms if you want to bake this into your own service on your own terms. And of course, syndication to come. So the other thing is with Search Platform, we're continually adding new data sources. So doing deeper drills, whether it's Expedia and giving instant answers for a whole category of questions, the search platform is always growing, and by building on top of our search platform, you get access to those capabilities. Now, we recently announced something I think is very, very interesting, which is search macros. Really what it is all about, we're shipping a way for you to build and distribute your own search engine. So scoped to your own to the sites that you care about with the query terms that you care about. Basically, you can assign a search macro to the search box of your own website, and they're giving you your own customized search engine. Today, if you go to microsoftgadgets.com/macros, you will see a whole list of sample search macros that our search team has created. And you can run the macros there or put them on your own site or use them from within live.com. Tomorrow afternoon, Ramez Nam will be giving a talk on search macros and go more in depth. I encourage you to go to the talk and to hear more about kind of what it's going to take for you to roll your own. Kind of an exciting, new way to build on top of our platform, but allow vertical specialization and innovation that frankly, I'm sure we haven't thought about back in Redmond. So I look forward to kind of seeing what comes out of the various search macro innovations over the weeks to come. The next couple platform capabilities I wanted to talk about are around Messenger. And I talked about how Messenger kind of continues to grow at a remarkable rate and gets richer and richer in terms of the capabilities that we're writing into the Messenger experience. In the next rev, Windows Live Messenger, currently in beta, you'll have the ability to, you'll have an integrated contact list, all your contacts there, whether you're Messenger buddies or not. You have capabilities like great voice calling, fantastic full screen, free, person-to-person video conversations that are going tremendously well. Messenger Activities really is a way to take that asset that we have with Messenger and really open it up as a platform for all of you to innovate on top of. Gives you a model too within the context of a conversation. And what that is the context of a conversation means the context of two individuals that have been authenticated to the service and that have already kind of said that they trust each other. So it's a very interesting platform just in and of itself, a trusted channel between these two users. You can build your own application that gets a complete user experience window attached to the conversation window, a place for you to invest in your own user experience, but also take advantage of this protected channel between the two endpoints of the Messenger activity. So what you see here in the diagram is an example where we built an activity, frankly, for all of us at Microsoft, but I bet for all of you too, who get that friend or that family member who calls you up and says, I think there's something wrong with my PC. What you could do is launch Messenger and from a conversation invite them to the Windows Live Safety Center activity. Now what this does is with your buddy's consent, lets you do a safety scan of their PC and gives you both access to the results of that safety scan. You can then proceed to walk through solving whatever problems, getting rid of whatever spyware is on the machine, what have you, defragging the disk, anything that might help your buddy's machine work better. So a great example where before activities, you might have been on the phone trying to walk your friend or your mom or dad through this experience. Instead, now you can launch this conversation. There's a rich application embedded into Messenger, an extension of Messenger built on the Activity SDK that can really deliver a much, much better experience. So we see actually a lot of our partners, for instance, advertising partners, building kind of immersive experiences here that somehow expose their brand, whether it's a game, trivia game, or some kind of an interactive game. And what it does is it gets their customers engaged with their products in the context of something fun. And it's remarkable how viral these things can spread, because all it takes is one person hearing about it, inviting their buddy to share in this activity. Now, another way that you can extend Messenger in a very interesting way is what we call a Messenger bot. What it is, it's a programmatic buddy. So a user adds you to their buddy list, and then they're interacting with your program in the same way that they would interact through text-IM and otherwise with any other buddy. So it's a way that you can connect to your customers 24/7. And again, this can be as simple as just a text communication, so menu-driven. It can be a little bit more artificial intelligence-like with a great language engine driving the conversation behind it. And there's a performance tomorrow, or a presentation tomorrow, on how to build rich bots and activities and alerts-based applications on top of Messenger that I really encourage you to take a look at. Again, this gives you a way to kind of extend your reach beyond your own properties. Lets people interact with you from within the context of Messenger, where they spend a lot of their time, and increase that user engagement. And again, something that we've seen spreads virally. Now, the combination of the two, bots that connect to activities, is very rich. And with that, I'd like to bring Ken back to the center of your attention to show us what we're doing with the activity platform.
All right, so to show you an example of a bot and how a user would interface to one, we actually had a bot created simply for this MIX conference. So what you're about to see will work now if you have a connection and you have Messenger. Well, even though I'm running Windows Live Messenger, it'll work with MSN Messenger. So I have no contacts. I'm going to go ahead and click Add, and I'm going to say MIX06info@hotmail.com. MIX06info@hotmail.com, and we summarize this address later in the slides. And I'm going to go ahead and say Save Contact. And I'll double click. And it actually says, Welcome to the MIX information bot. And I'll just type in menu. Again, this is not a real person, it's a program. It's a program that's hooked into Messenger, and it gives me a menu. It says, let's check the conference schedule information or session information and so on. So if you hit number 2, it'll tell you information about the menu item you selected. And in some cases, it's going to bring up another window, hosting another application. And to do this, you have to accept. And it'll actually, in this case, bring up Internet Explorer. And this is the real data for the conference. And there is your information for the sessions. Want to find out about a speaker? I can just type in Tim Riley, type in his name. There you go. You want to see the map? Most of you carry around in your pocket. And there's the map, right? And then there's other information. Let's take a look at the menu again. You can see here, you can get information on speakers. There's the map, schedule information. This is pretty useful. I think I just type in schedule. Again, it has a nice help system. This is very useful because then you can just quickly scan what the schedule is, right? Then there's activities, okay? You're here to have fun too. Maybe you're staying a few extra days. And just type in activities. And it's like, okay, what are you interested in? Notice it says restaurants, shows, of course. Let's just go restaurants. And let's say on the Vegas Strip. And we'll just pick Imperial Palace number 3. And then I can pick one, or I can just hit accept. And it's going to actually give me a message because I'm going to close this little activity window on the right and replace it here. And so I'm just picking a map where I selected, and notice it brings up Virtual Earth posted inside this page here. And I can actually just click to like road view here, and see the information, and then I can go to the website for the restaurant I want, and so on. So you get the idea. You can browse around. There's a lot of information in there. Another thing that we have in here is the blog. You can actually just type in the MIX06 blog. It'll take you to the blog that's updated here daily. Another one is feedback. If you click feedback, we're actually going to be monitoring the feedback you send here during the conference. So if you have some interesting ideas or feedback, we'll be checking in while you're at the conference. So maybe during a break or later tonight or something, try this out with your Wi-Fi connection. MIX06 info@hotmail.com. Just add it to your contact and just hit menu and you're on your way. All right? Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Ken. So, of course, you may have a lot of immediate benefits from delivering your own bots or activities or combined activity bots. One that we showed, a Yellow Pages bot that our partners Bell Canada are driving, obviously connected directly to their business. But we also offer the opportunity to have advertisements within activities and within bots. And in fact, what we're announcing today, and if you go up to MSDNWAC Live, you'll see everything you need in order to be able to engage on bots and activities and engage on delivering ads and driving revenues through this ecosystem. We're doing this right now through a partnership with Canoodle. And Canoodle partnering with us is making it very easy for you to set up accounts and get going built on top of this on this platform. After Canoodle's ad serving fees, it's an 80-20 revenue share with 80 to you guys, to the developers. And later on, I talked about Ad Center. Ad Center today is just rolling out in a number of countries, supporting search monetization, so keyword buys, as the first step of Ad Center. Later on, it too will be able to provide the same kind of contextual ad serving capabilities. And so we'll be able to migrate from the current partnership straight to Ad Center, where we believe with all the targeting information we have and all of the deeper engagement of our customers have with Windows Live Services through Ad Center, that you'll see even greater monetization and therefore higher revenues to be shared. So very easy to get started. I totally encourage you to go take a look at what you can do with bots, activities, alerts, and the Canoodle partnership. So now we're getting into a part of the talk that's a little bit that's not available today, but is coming soon, and that is Windows Live ID. Now, you saw identity as one of kind of those core building blocks, core pieces of our infrastructure, and Windows Live ID is really our single common service for sign-in across all the Windows Live properties. Now, this replaces Passport. In fact, all passports become Windows Live IDs, so there's a very seamless evolution. But really, the service has been re-engineered in some very fundamental ways. The idea is to go beyond kind of the username password and really enable a richer set of credential types. So for instance, you saw info cards today and the benefits that they deliver. You'll see us integrating info cards and supporting them within Windows Live ID. And in fact, we live in a distributed, federated world, and our services really need to reflect that. So Live ID is designed to participate fully in such an environment. So if you've heard Kim Cameron and others talk about the identity meta system, Windows Live ID will participate in that meta system. And we'll support the appropriate credential types, and it's designed so that as new types evolve, if there are new types of certificate types, new smart cards, et cetera, that we'll be able to integrate them into Live ID and therefore take advantage of them throughout our services. You'll see these roll out first, the user experiences, and we'll see a little bit of that in a demo, but then you'll get SDKs whether you're integrating Windows Live ID into a client application or straight from your servers. So with that, kind of the third and probably coolest demo that Ken's going to show us today, bringing together not only Windows Live ID, but Virtual Earth and our Live Search and even Windows Mobile. And there's work to be done to get to this point, but we're excited to show a great proof of concept that isn't that far off.
So we're at the point now where we're going to show you things that are working for us in beta, but they haven't been released yet. But we really want you to see the kind of scenarios, user experience, and some information from a developer point of view about where we're going. So the kind of things you're going to see here are really working. They're just not released yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring up, just go to an Expo page here. And then what I'm going to do is actually sign in. And what we see here is a little tile with Trevin here's login. And the two types of scenarios are two people, husband and wife or family, can share a computer, so there's multiple sign-ins involved. Or maybe many of you have multiple accounts, and there are times when you sign in one for one thing and sign in another for another. So we're going to go ahead and sign in as a different user, and Trevin's wife, Nicole, is going to sign in and chose to say, remember me on this computer. So we'll say, Nicole.com. We'll log in. And it's going to take you to the new marketplace for Windows Live Expo here. And the first thing you see here is this little kind of an area for the contact that signed in, the person that signed in here. And Nicole had chosen at some point, maybe using Messenger or whatever, to display, have a picture there. And the idea is we're creating a uniform way of having authentication across different services. So now what I'll do, just to show you what happens here, is I'm going to bring up another instance of Internet Explorer, and we'll go to Windows Live Mail. And notice you'll get the two tiles here from the various people that have logged on here. The way this works is installing something like Messenger. We'll install a little helper object that allows some of this information, if you choose to have it persisted, so that you have kind of a unified way from a web experience and a rich client, smart client experience. So in this case, we'll have Trevor sign on. And so now we're in the mail, and I'm just going to resize this window, and you can just see they're both signed in independent pages, so each instance. Of course, if I was to something like right-click and open another window, it would carry along with that window. But when I start a new process, I have a new authentication option. So now I'm going to bring up Messenger here. And what you'll see here is that now the Messenger authentication lookup here is unified with all the services. So as you move from Messenger to other Windows Live services, you're going to see the common experience across the board. So I'm going to go ahead and sign as Nicole on Messenger. Okay. And it's simply just showing how you could either have multiple accounts on different services, or you could have two different people sharing a computer. Probably not necessarily like this scenario at the exact same time, but you're getting an idea of what it looks like when you have multiple users sign on. All right? So let me close these windows out here. And so now that you've seen a little preview of some of these things, you've seen some stuff on Virtual Earth and Search, what we've done is we've put together a hypothetical mashup website. All right? And this is not necessarily something we're working on as a service, but it's something we're looking at doing. We're providing the APIs to allow a company or developer to build something like this. All right? So this is just a hypothetical thing. Everyone here at MIX, we're here to have fun, have a party, have a conversation. So we have this application here that's essentially geared towards someone that has contacts with your Messenger and Mail with Windows Live services to set up a party with those contacts in a kind of an integrated way. So let me go ahead and sign in. And I'm going to go ahead and sign in as Nicole. And it's going to go out to get those contacts that you probably saw in Messenger, right? These are the exact same constants. This is real data actually happening. Those same contacts are being pulled down. Notice that the bot we added wasn't there. This is a situation where these contacts have chosen to publish their address to Nicole, so it's just part of their friends. Could be family, friends, and so forth. And in this Party Start application, this is more of a client-side mashup. So the data is not coming from Party Start. It's actually coming directly from the authenticated Windows Live service. All right? This is just kind of a mashup where the data is coming from multiple places. And you'll notice we have virtual Earth here. So I can go ahead and scan back a little bit here, and then I can switch to aerial view. And I can pick different people that I would like to display based on their address. And what's happening here is their actual address is being doing a lookup, getting the geolocation from the virtual Earth API so that it actually plots it on the point. Now, a lot of you know how the mouse wheel works with virtual Earth. You can actually, instead of using here, you can kind of like move the wheel in and out. But you may not know if you hold down the Alt key, you can actually just grab an area and zoom in like that. That's a cool little feature. Of course, the wheels work fine. And then let me just move in here a little bit closer and so on. And you can see here that we actually have a bird's eye view enabled. So there you go. This is Vegas. See the information here. Let me switch back to aerial, scan out. Okay. All right. Now, notice there's these little icons here. Doesn't that look like the messenger icon? So let's suppose, well, I'm here, Nicole's here at MIX and wants to basically possibly meet to chat with Aaron, who is also here at the conference somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this icon, and it actually brings up Messenger real time here. And because Nicole stayed signed in here, it automatically just brought up the conversation window. If Nicole had not had Messenger on but had chosen to automatically sign in, then it would have automatically signed in. Okay, that's all the choice up on how the client was persisted. And I could say something like, wanna mix it up over breakfast tomorrow. Just just a hypothetical. I'm just trying to paint a little potential scenario here of sending a message saying, oh, I want to mix it up and get together later or something like that. And so what's happening here is that on this, oh, I actually got a message back. It says, sure, I'm walking out on the strip now. So this is real, and what's happening here is actually I'll say I'll send you an email invitation, and I'll hit send, and I'm actually close this window here. And notice we have this show mobile locations. I'm going to switch over to here, and I'm going to go over and just zoom right in here. Okay, and I'll zoom up closer. Go bird's eye, of course. I'll just zoom in like this. And I think that's about as close as we can. Oh, we can get even closer. This is the Venetian. People been outside today? This is what it looks like during the day, right? And the way that worked is Kevin, who's playing the role of Aaron, is actually outside right now with a GPS Pocket PC with Windows Mobile 5 on it, all right? And it's got MSN Messenger on it, and it actually replied right there. You can see there's the Pocket PC. I took this photo about 2 hours ago or so. And what's happening here is that he's outside and just sending messages back and forth, so forth. And we're just trying to keep our eye on this little location here. So again, this little scenario is set up so that you can just create an invite list of people. So what I'm going to do is I can turn off a few people here that I not necessarily want to invite, like Scott here. Maybe he can't, already know, can't make it to the breakfast. And let's see. So what I can do is go ahead and say send. Well, first what we're going to do is search for a place that we want to actually meet up. All right? So what we'll do is we'll say breakfast. Right? This is using Windows Live Search. And we click here. What Party Start has done this little thing where basically it does a search based on your the location and then uses some script code to kind of filter out places that are nearby, all right? And what we can do is pick one. You can see here. We'll just pick IHOP, for example, and we'll click Send Invitation. And we'll go ahead and just say something like, let's meet for breakfast at 7 a.m. And it's just the people that I had selected there. And I'll go ahead and hit send. And it's going to use, maybe Party Start's email service to send these messages. Oh, by the way, did you notice that just moved? See that point? Were you paying attention there, that little position? Out there playing the role of Nicole is Kevin, and he's got a custom version of Virtual Earth Mobile running on the Pocket PC, and it's connected to a Bluetooth phone on the internet, and he's got a button where he pushes it, and he pushes his latitude, longitude back to some server, and then we refresh it. Notice? I think he's lost, but this is real time. He's actually out there right now, just walking around, hitting this update button. And actually, the application for Virtual Earth Mobile is free download via virtualearth.com, and the source code in C# is there, too. So this is kind of a modified version of that just has a button that lets you push that back up. See that? And this page is just refreshing every 30 seconds, typical little Ajax thing in the background. All right? So we got one more step here, and that is to see what happens with that email here. So let's bring up mail. And let's say hypothetically a little later, Trevin checks on the computer, mail. And remember, Trevin was included in the invite for the email. And we just quickly go over and notice the email says, let's meet for breakfast. It already knew it was IHOP, and it built a URL in the background. Remember, each person that was invited, it knew the location of them, and actually sent a personalized email to them automatically with the directions, and just one URL that brings up Windows Live Local, which is an application that hosts Virtual Earth, with all the directions just for them, from their location right down here. All right? Cool? And just to kind of summarize, again, this is just a hypothetical mashup, right? This is just something a couple developers we'd had put together as a little scenario sample. I'm going to show you something, our new Windows Live Developer Center that went live this morning. And this is it's basically msdn.com/live. And there's a URL in Brian's deck to show later. And it's a new page that really summarizes a lot that you've heard in this presentation. Things about the messenger activity, so a video on Channel 9 with Scott Swanson on showing demos, more in-depth demos. And there's APIs you can download and so on. And my blog's linked there, and I'm going to be posting more detailed information on a regular basis. And you can also, that's a place you can send me feedback. All right, so that ends the third and final demo.
Cool. Thank you, Ken. That was very cool. That mashup, integrating a live ID, mapping, search, the contacts. It's really incredible what we're going to be able to do with all these data sources coming from us, and then similar sets of services coming from service providers kind of around the world. A lot of opportunity. So in conclusion, I talked about kind of Windows Live and this new vision we have for bringing the internet to our customers in a way that they want to consume it on their terms. And platform that we're talking about today is very core to our whole Windows Live vision. It's a big part of what we're focusing on. Our focus really is on enabling richer experiences quicker. Make it easy for people to either extend our user experiences, like through a messenger activity, or help you extend your experiences if you're the Party Start kind of developer wanting to bring in aspects of Windows Live capabilities. And it's really on helping you attract users, usage, and dollars, whatever your business model may be, whether it's driving traffic, driving clicks, driving ad revenue. So I encourage you, go to msdn.com/live and start to play with it and give us feedback. Now, over the course of the next day and a half, or I guess almost 2 days, we've got a number of other presentations that will drill down into different aspects of the Windows Live platform. Everything from Ad Center, I think you've already missed, but the how to build great Ajax experiences. That's learning from what we've done with our new mail experience and live.com, to drilling down on search macros, the location-centric services with Virtual Earth, developing interactive applications with bots and activities. A lot of opportunity here. And I look forward to seeing you all tonight at the party. And thank you very much for your attention.